Welcome, everybody, to the Northwest Sportshow here in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Let me tell you what, I haven't been here in a while, and it is quite the spectacular place to see things and people. If you want to people watch, it's also a great place to come. If you want to hear some seminars, it's also a great place. I am Luke Hench's Rods and Reloads on YouTube, Northwoods Angling, Fish on Luke. And we got some guests here at the table today. Some I have met, some I have not. We'll start with myself. I'm Luke, I said. Next
Hi,
to me,
Luke.
I'm not going to say next to me yet because I already lost my page. Across from me in the corner here in the middle, we got Scott Goodyman. He is a Vexlar Pro Staff, Norfin Pro Staff, ice fishing phenom himself, Mr. Scott Goodyman. Next to me directly, we have Travis Soroki. He is a ambassador for American Heritage, American Hero Outdoor TV. He is a DAV. You can say what you are. How about that? I'm really bad right now.
I'm an ambassador for the DAV. I do a lot of fishing with vets and first responders, military personnel stuff.
Yep.
Love it.
And he designed a rod for Temple Fork Outfitters, correct?
Yeah, I designed a complete walleye series. So designed three different trolling rods, and then two different spinning rods for walleyes, a jig and wrap rod and a slip bobber rod.
Cool. So he's going to be having some input on some walleye chat we have today. On the end, we have the one and only, the chat dominator himself at every podcast.
I'm there.
We got Corey Bechtold, Macula Tackle. We are selling his jigs now at Old Carver Bait and Tackle Shop in Carver, Minnesota, and probably in Montgomery at our other bait shop.
And here at the booth. So if
and
you're
he likes to talk. I've told I got to cut him off every couple minutes, make sure he doesn't say too many words. Across from him, we got Nikki Huddleston. She's a shore fishing lady herself on the river. She loves the river fishing. She actually fishes right by where I live. So I'm going to be creeping hard on the electric bike this summer.
Yeah.
I'll be down there. Across from me, we got Megan Kellen. I remembered your name. She is the editor and publisher of Lake and Company magazine, which can be found Barnes and Noble. Anywhere you can find magazines, you can find her magazine, so it must be good.
We hope so.
It's the real deal. She likes to fish for walleye. She just walked by and like, you want to join the podcast? She took Chewy's spot. She'll probably say more than he does, and she's never even been on our podcast. Just kidding, Chewy. But Chewy's watching from behind, creeping hard. He had sunglasses on earlier. I told him to take them off, but he said his eyes hurt. I don't know what he was doing. But we're at the sports show here in Minneapolis. If you haven't been down here, make sure you stop down. We got about 150 catfish rods out right now. And I even said, if you're not a catfish guy, those rods are great for muskie trolling, pike trolling. They're glass rods, S-glass, E-glass.
They're pretty.
They're not the sensitive rods where you're going to be jigging stuff. But
No.
I've trolled with my catfish rods for muskie many times. I've caught a lot of muskie. I've caught a lot of 30-inch walleye on those rods, too. I would never use them for walleye, obviously, but
it takes all the fun.
they like to eat bullheads, and they don't fight very hard. Even 30-inch walleye don't fight hard on those rods.
No, you don't feel a whole lot of them.
That's like every walleye, though. You just got to skip them across the surface.
Yeah. So next to us, let's talk a little bit about your involvement with the DAV and maybe a little bit about American Heroes.
Yeah, so actually through American Heroes Outdoors, I got involved with the DAV. American Heroes Outdoors, if you're not familiar with, it's a television show where we highlight veterans, first responders, and tell their story in an outdoor setting. And the two gentlemen that started it are Colonel Scott St. Sauver and Dave Morris. And I'm not a veteran myself. My dad did 2 tours in Vietnam. I got to know Scott through fishing a couple walleye tournaments because he's a walleye guy. Even though you'll see him bass fishing once in a while, but he's a walleye guy. And I got to meet Scott, and I started talking to him, and my dad had passed away in 2014, and I'm like, I'd really like to get more involved in helping out veteran organizations and stuff. And Scott's like, well, he's like, let me talk to the board of directors at American Heroes Outdoors. So he did. And long and short, I'm still the only ambassador for American Heroes Outdoors that is not a veteran.
Yeah, that's cool.
It kind of gives a different perspective.
Yeah.
You know, somebody that really supports the military, the police, that really believes in their mission and the freedoms that we get because of that.
Yeah, we do here. We got family members in the military, and Chewy's brother's a police officer.
Right.
And
My dad's a vet.
It's pretty special. They don't
Yeah.
get as much recognition as they deserve.
No.
That's for sure.
Right. So with that, we do a lot of events. The biggest one that American Heroes Outdoors gets involved with is trolling for the troops. It's based out of Camp Ripley. We get around 200 veterans out fishing the first week of June. There's a contingent that goes to the river and they fish in these awesome jet boats.
Nice.
And then there's another contingent of us that goes mostly to Mille Lacs, so we can go beat up on some big smallmouth and catch
good
some walleyes
picture
and stuff.
fish,
Yeah, exactly. And through, again, American Heroes Outdoors, we do different events. And one of the other events that we support is the Carleton County DAV has an event at High Banks Resort on Lake Winnipegosh in August. And through my time just giving back and committing to helping that event out, I got to meet a lot of people within the DAV. And then the DAV kind of approached me and we kind of hashed some things out. And so now I'm basically a sponsored part-time guide that I give back a lot of time to the DAV.
That's awesome.
Through American Heroes Outdoors. So I spend a lot of time taking vets out fishing and, fishing for fun. I fished the AIM Professional Walleye Series for a number of years. I kind of dabble in some other tournaments. So
Nice.
that's me.
That's really neat. Yeah, some of us, I've done a lot of
We've done
volunteering guiding for
Hometown
Hometown Heroes.
Yeah.
both
I have
of us
I have one of those weird jet boats you were talking about. So
No, they're
I do
cool.
a lot of river fishing, and it's fun taking vets out.
It's
It's
nothing more
pretty
rewarding.
awesome.
Yeah.
I've been part of the big one down in Illinois. Brain farting. We'll just forget I said it.
You had talked about muskie fishing earlier,
Yeah.
and that's how I got really into the fishing industry, kind of like what we're in now. In 2011, I was guiding out on Mille Lacs Lake, and back when we could keep 4 fish.
Wait, they don't have muskie in there, do they?
Yeah. Well, here I'll show you a picture.
No.
No, there's
So-
no muskies everywhere, anywhere in the state, right,
Beautiful
Nicole?
pure strain.
So I was out on a guide trip on Mille Lacs, had a husband and wife out with me, and full moon of October, and ended up catching myself because nobody wanted to take the rod out of my hand when we hooked this fish. I ended up catching a 57 1/4 by 27-inch muskie
Damn.
on 10-pound test line,
True giant.
which is still, as of last fall anyway, when I looked, still the world record catch and release muskie for 10-pound test line, as recognized by the Fishing Hall of Fame in Hayward, Wisconsin.
Did you try IGFA at all?
No, did not. I got
I'm curious.
yeah, no, I did not try the IGFA. We contacted the DNR, Minnesota DNR, and because they did not, I did not kill the fish. The fish released absolutely fine. There's nothing that we can do, but you should call the Fishing Hall of Fame. And so I did, and I kind of told them what I caught, and they're like, well, it sounds like we need to send you some paperwork. So you got to go through a bunch of stuff. I had to recontact the people that I was out fishing with.
Yeah.
They had to watch me take 30 feet of line off the rod that I caught it on, signed affidavits that we had to have notarized, sent that all to the Fishing Hall of Fame. They did their line test, and about 3 weeks later, they sent me a really cool certificate framed with a world record hold. And then I had artistic anglers up in Duluth do a glass replica
They
for
do
me.
a good job.
They did an amazing job. They displayed it for a whole year. I sent them the certificate, so they had that for a whole year and ran it around where they were doing their shows.
So it's cool you talk about records. So interesting thing that's going on in Minnesota right now. They're changing records. So all the longstanding records that were before calibrated scales are getting reset in Minnesota, and they're adding 20 new species to catch and release records now in Minnesota,
Dang.
which is really neat. I got the state record, Wisconsin catch and release record last year for lake sturgeon,
Oh, that was beautiful too.
almost 80 inches.
That was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I think
And
it's big.
they're doing that in Minnesota, but they're adding a whole bunch of species to it,
That's awesome.
which will give the people opportunity. And even for the keeping, so in Minnesota, to get an official record in Minnesota, you have to kill the fish. A weight record. There's no way about it. There's no way around it. You cannot not kill the fish. It's just the way it is right now, as we have it in Minnesota. But they have minimums for the new records. They're not just letting people start putting in new records. It's got to be like a 30-pound channel cat, which is giant for Minnesota.
Yep.
But it's a cool thing talking about records, and there's like IGFA has line records too,
Yeah,
and now he's the world record holder for 10-pound line test for muskie, which is pretty cool.
that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's how I really got started. I have a little bit of a knack for writing and communicating. So I wrote to everybody that was involved. I caught it on a Rapala Husky jerk. So I wrote to Rapala, and they sent me a bunch of tackle, and just started blooming up from there. And then I started looking for a boat deal, and Alumacraft jumped on board, and that's
awesome.
that's kind of where I've been.
That's
So
really
I
cool.
have one question.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get that fish in?
About 40 minutes.
That's not bad.
And
It's not bad.
That's
about 2 tours around my boat.
I'm just glad you didn't say 4
Yeah.
hours.
No, it was
That's
about
pretty respectable.
Yeah, it is.
and the thing is I caught it. It's no secret to people that know me. I caught it between Lakeside Reef and Flamingo Reef on Mille Lacs Lake,
Yeah.
and
Believe it.
when I that's just okay. caught that fish, the cool thing was, so I caught it October of the full moon on 2011. The next year, Jason Hammernick caught a 57.5-inch muskie inside of Big Point. And if you look on a map where Lakeside Reef and Big Point are, it's less than a half a mile. So, I mean, we're like, I've talked to Hammernick a couple times, and I'm like, what are the chances that it's the same fish? And he's like, he's like, there's probably only a handful of fish that are that big in Mille Lacs Lake. So, it very well could have been, from October to June is when Hammernick caught his, and we just started communicating at shows.
Yeah.
And I'm not a muskie guy. I'm a walleye guy. I've probably caught maybe 10 muskies in my life, and all but 2 of them have been
On
fishing
purpose.
for walleyes.
That happens for me too.
Right,
a lot
yeah.
with the
Not
low
me,
stuff.
though.
I got a waypoint on there.
Yeah, we won't get into that today, will we? Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's a pretty unique situation to be in, and you're not a muskie. I have a buddy that caught a 56 on Mille Lacs, or not on Mille Lacs, but up by Ely, not ever muskie fishing as well. It's just like sometimes they come to you,
Yeah.
But we're gonna get into the next guest here. I'm gonna end with Corey because God knows you guys all know why. We're gonna talk to Megan Kellen here across from us. She's just randomly walking by. We stopped her,
Yep.
so
It was my fault.
she's here. Chewy's got his sunglasses on. Take them off. Baggy, they hurt. He's got sensitive eyes.
Chewy didn't get any sleep
He was
last night.
He was up a little late, getting ready for the show. But Megan, she's the editor and publisher of Lake and Company magazine. Can you tell us about your magazine? Let's sell that magazine
Yeah.
right now.
Heck yes. So essentially, we're talking all about lake life in the Midwest. The one that we have in front of us here is all about Minnesota,
That's
and
awesome.
it is for the people, from the people. So we're telling stories just like we're doing today, sitting around, like telling a muskie story, right?
Yeah.
So anyone can write in. Not that it will always go into the publication,
Yeah.
but we really strive to talk about the lifestyle and culture that exists in Minnesota and what makes it special, which it's a crazy, unique place in the world.
It is. It's
I
really
love
unique.
this
Yeah.
state.
And if you guys are just listening and not watching, well, you can't see this anyways, but beautiful matte finish on this magazine. Really good photography in here. Really good pictures. Really good, just really well put together
It is.
magazine. Very professional. I'm sure it's well published and well edited as well.
Yeah.
Since that's you,
Yeah,
right?
we love to tell a good story, big
That's a-
fish story.
That's a really neat. How long
Yeah.
have you had this magazine?
Almost 10 years.
Holy cow!
Wow.
I grew up in northern
You
Minnesota.
started when you were 12 or what?
yeah. So I grew up on Kegama Lake.
Oh,
And,
cool.
Grand Rapids, yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm from
So-
the Bemidji area, so I'm from the upper north, kind of.
Awesome.
Not
Yep.
quite Grand Rapids area, but
Hey.
I deer hunt up around Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, my dad's originally from Orr.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
a nice
Yeah.
area.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
and I started it just because I was seeing so much different character between our lake towns. So we will cover all regions of Minnesota, and
That's such a good
That's
point.
awesome.
That's
It is.
so true,
it's
too.
crazy. Even you can take like the dock systems, Minnetonka to Lake of the Woods,
Yeah.
and they're completely different. So
And the atmosphere, things change when you go to like different areas with multiple lakes, especially like the Pelican Rapids area, Park Rapids area. Then you get out towards like the chain of lakes by Brainerd.
Yeah.
It's just so different everywhere. and
totally different.
It's interesting, and
Yeah.
that's a good point. Is if you guys want a good read What would you say this would what type of people would love to read this magazine?
You know, my goal, and I'd love to see like a Lake and Company sticker on all the boats, right? And then a magazine that sits on a coffee table in our
Yeah.
homes and cabins.
Coffee shops.
Coffee
Great
shops.
coffee shop
Yep.
magazine.
Yeah. So we found that it's become a collector's. When I first started it, I didn't really know where it was going to go. I just thought it was. I was surprised after living outside of Minnesota for about 15 years, the stories that were coming my way.
Yeah.
And so that's why I started. I was just like, wow, everyone's got a story, of course, but just, I mean, how do we tell it? How do we deliver state pride?
Yeah.
And I think that we, with every issue and with every contributor, we are accomplishing that. Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That is really
So
cool.
in this article or in this magazine, we talk a lot about maple syruping, and that started really
Yeah.
early.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
unique.
It did.
Yeah.
People are getting
I've been tapping
morels
trees
right
all
now.
day.
I've
Yeah.
seen that.
Morels?
A lot of morels
Yes,
are coming out
morels are
already.
coming out.
Southern?
Yeah.
Like Minneapolis,
Southern.
like
That's
Like
crazy.
Carver, Belle Plaine.
I'm still tapping maples
No.
right now, and it's a good harvest year.
I
Yeah,
told my
it's
dad,
great.
I'm like, dude, it's gonna be super
Well, those
early. We gotta
morels
get
are
ready.
they're gonna come back.
Yeah.
This is just like the first little with that warm weather we had.
That snow is gonna.
But
take
I'll be
care of
out there again. I've taken
Yeah.
her to some of my favorite spots. We
Yeah,
got. We
I still have
crushed
to
them.
bring you to mine, so it's
Yeah.
like they're.
I
I
might be
can't
doing
wait.
something wrong. I'm
We got
tapping
a
pine
lot of
trees,
morels
but I'm
when we
like,
went
I want
out.
thick
Yeah.
syrup. I don't
We
like
also
that
need,
maple syrup.
Oh,
Wine
Pine syrup
moisture.
is really
Yeah,
good on
we need
pine.
a
So
lot of
lacking that.
moisture.
And
Pancakes
ice cream.
together, it ain't going no place.
Yep. I know.
If people want,
I'm
if you guys are a business owner and you want your your magazine in their company, or if they want to
Yeah.
get the subscription for this, what is the best way to do it?
Yeah.
Tell
Come
us
on.
now.
Go online, www.thelakeandcompany.com.
Thelakeandcompany.com, just like it sounds.
Easy enough.
You can get her on Barnes and Noble too, guys. I mean,
Barnes and Noble, Target, Walgreens, Walmart.
she's made
Perfect.
it. You made it.
Oh, come
Yeah.
on.
Love
You're
that.
Yeah.
Love that. I didn't know this. I've never heard of it, and I'm glad you stopped.
I'm
I'm
glad
glad
you.
you are.
These is Scotty. Naughty Scotty.
Yeah, thanks, Scotty.
Is it only me? Because like when you were flipping through there, it's like memories and visions and stuff are really powerful, and it's like I immediately can smell a fire. I'm up on the shores of Pelican Lake up by Orr, and I probably got a s'more in my hand, or probably
There you
I'm
go.
gonna get my parents a subscription.
Is
to this. They
there-
would love this.
So do you have
That's
good
awesome.
like Minnesota recipes in there?
We do. Okay, so we
Yes.
always try to
Hot dish.
talk a lot about the outdoors. We always try to talk about the food that we're eating, the things that are making our memories, right? Just anything that's very Minnesotan, I'll put in there. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Those
recipes.
casseroles.
I'm
Don't
gonna have
you
to
know?
get some of those.
Yeah.
You
for the
betcha.
subscription.
There
Oh, you
was
betcha.
a really fun one that we did. Grant Sorensen, he's a big
I know
fisherman.
who he is.
Oh yeah, we know
Lake
he is.
Superior.
Yep,
Mhm.
yep. And so he's in here, and that's a fun one because he talked a lot about what he does, the passion
Yeah.
behind it. And then we're gonna go out on the ice next year
Yep.
because
Next
we have
year.
no more
We
ice.
don't have
Correct.
any.
Yeah, and
Ice?
and we'll talk a lot about the ice fishing, and then we'll pan sear whatever we fish.
It's
and
fun
he's got
out
a
there.
seasoning company now.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that will be really fun. So it's always just
Have you
connecting
ice
the
fished
dots.
Superior?
I have not.
It's awesome. I've done it a
I
lot.
know. I
It's
want to. I
amazing.
want to get
It's
out
on
there.
my bucket.
I went
list.
out there my third time out. I caught almost a 40-inch lake trout through the ice out of Duluth, which is
See,
a
I
big
wanna-
lake trout. And then
on a lake.
I ended up
trout
going to
through
Isle Royal in a boat for a week and stayed on an island out there, one of the 200 islands on Isle Royal, the national park.
That's a beautiful area.
And we caught probably 20 over 36 inches in a day.
That would be so much
It was
fun.
crazy.
Hard to believe.
Jigging, no
size,
trolling.
Size 10 Macula tackle. That's pretty small for a big fish.
You got
I'm proud of you.
4-ounce jigs?
Yet.
200 feet of water?
Yet.
you do.
Well, they like the slow fall of the 148 ounce.
Dude,
size
I
10.
change it up from like 1 ounce to 3 ounce to 4 ounce, depending on how aggressive they are, really. Because
Makes sense.
we're fishing 200 feet sometimes,
Yeah.
jigging. We don't troll on Isle Royal. We're straight jig, and that's even like it's awesome out there. If you've never been to Isle Royal, it's the most majestic,
Done any of
awesome place. I wish it was considered Minnesota. It's not.
Right.
It's beautiful. There's so many wolves and moose out there. It's just incredible.
It
Stunning.
is.
But
Yep.
we appreciate you coming on. You can stay here, or you can give Chewy spot back for Corey. Do you want her to
Sure.
stay on? Yeah, she's staying on. You're staying
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
It's been decided.
it.
Corey.
Uh-oh.
Corey Bechtold,
Okay.
Macula tackle.
You got it?
He's got the goofy looking jigs that work really well.
Yep.
Tell
And
me
they're
about
easy
it.
to tap.
What are we
30
doing?
36-inch lake trout and 200 feet of
I
water.
love
You got
that. I love that.
Yeah. So basically, I started my company a few years ago based off of a a concept, an idea, something you saw that needed to be in the industry. And I was ice fishing with my dad. He had a crappie wrap on his transducer and he ended up breaking his line. And a little while later, he's just like sitting there. I'm like, why aren't you fishing? Well, I can't see to tie another jig on. I'm like, well, give me your rod and I'll tie one on. So I tied a jig on for him. We finished our limits of crappies, went home. And that night, laying down, and I happened to have a piece of paper and a pencil next to the bed, and I started to fall asleep. You know, you get in that REM sleep where you feel like you're falling.
That's where the big brain comes out.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm falling. But anyways, I was like, God, why are eyes on jigs so small? Anyways, and I drew a shape kind of in my sleep. And it was like the next day I woke up and I was kind of looking around doing stuff in the house. And I'm like, I drew something in my sleep last night. And I looked and I'm like, $1 million idea. Do I look like $1 million idea guy?
You sure do.
Someday, maybe
Someday.
dream on, But I figured, you know what, let's get this thing rolling. And it was a long process. Well, a longer story than we have time for probably on this podcast. But
We'll write about it in the magazine.
we'll write about it
Yeah.
in the magazine.
There
So
you go.
basically 3 years ago, I think like right coming out of COVID is when we kind of had some things launched. I had some made. I make everything. So my wife thought I had to have like 100,000 of everything in stock, for going worldwide or something. And it's like, we sold some at a kids fishing clinic. And then some people were like, oh, can we get these, online or something like that? And I told my daughter, I'm like, we got to get our website going. So we kind of slammed it forward a little early. And my wife was panicking. She panics about everything. It's like, calm down, we're fine. No, we're not. But anyways, yeah, then so we got the website up, but then it was like everyone wanted a bigger hook than I had. I started off with just the 2 sizes, more for ice, but they had such good open water, applications. And I'm like, I got to get some more bigger things going. So the size 6 jigs that I currently have, which I think you probably even have in your hand.
This is a Macula tackle hook right here. You can't really see.
Oh, go ahead and open
They
that.
have an interesting
Hold it
eyelet.
up closer.
Yeah, my camera that stole from me. But they have an extended, elongated eyelet.
Yep.
Makes it real nice for
Yeah,
cold
I see
hands,
it.
old hands,
Yep.
handicapped hands.
Everything.
You know what I
everything.
mean?
Even if you have good eyesight and your hands are frozen, it's hard to hold on
At
to
your age,
dexterity.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
not easy.
I know.
As a
I
guy
got-
that welds every day and likes to
Oh.
fish and stares
And
into a light,
Corey,
I know it's
I
going to make
gotta- I
me
gotta
blind.
comment.
This gives me hope someday.
Someone commented and they wanted to know. They knew you were fishing the tank.
Oh, yeah.
They want to know how many bass you caught in the tank.
Oh, my God. So the first day when I jumped up there, I took my jig. And I don't want to wreck a hook. I mean, it's a good jig. So I figured I'm gonna bend it all. So I bent it all the way down and almost like
So you couldn't catch them.
you think.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to talk and explain to people things, and you throw it in the tank, and the bass were like piranhas. They would just
They couldn't stop. Right.
And I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I was catching them, and I'm like, oh my God. So I caught the first day, I think it was like 6 or 8 bass. It was just stupid. I was skipping the bait across the top of the water, and I was like, I think they're gonna jump out of the tank.
Like in the Amazon.
Oh my God, it was insane. So then yesterday, I'm like, I gotta cut this. So yesterday when I was up on the tank, I cut all basically the business end off the jigs, and I'm like, that sucks to do that because it's a good jig.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I had no one, and I'm throwing it out there doing my seminar, and the bass are hitting it, and and it's like my rod just shaking, and I'm like, ah, and then, another bass grabs on, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I ended up having a bluegill on, and I'm like, then I got excited, and I'm like, oh, I want to catch the blues. I'm kind of a dire panfish guy. So.
They have
Anyways,
some good gills in that
I
tank.
caught that one. He with no hook, that thing swallowed the bait and jig, and I actually had to bring it in, lift it out, and do the old hold on to him, give him the old couple circles, and then the hook comes out.
So maybe a new, you can just say Macula tackle irresistible.
Oh gosh.
Maybe.
Well, maybe that's the future shape. I'm working. People don't know it, man. I'm my hands are always like full of lead and stuff and everything.
Feel that.
I'm grinding and doing some shape things and trying to like set them down and see how they look and see how they act and give them to friends like Travis here and say, go use these things. Let me know if I need to change something. Because I can listen and I can do things, whereas like a lot of other companies are like, oh,
They don't
what
listen.
What are we getting from China? Oh, can you do this? All right, you'll have it next year. And with me, you can kind of have it in a little while. But I'm working on big stuff. That's probably the most exciting thing for me because it keeps everything is like everyone. I went from a 10 to an 8, and everyone's like, I need a size 6. All right, I got a size 6, and then they don't order anything. That's how it always goes. I'm like, I got them now. Oh, I'm not going to buy any. I need bigger. Well, if you have like a quarter ounce, I'll buy them. I need them for walleyes. So I'm working on. I have 4 larger hooks that I'm working with.
I've been
right?
seeing a lot of testing pictures.
Oh yeah, baby. And it was like one of the things. How much do you really leak? Because then everyone starts messaging you like, "I want these now," and I'm like, "I don't have them now." I mean, literally,
They're
I have
not
3.
available yet.
Yeah, I have 3, and 2 of them are on pool 4 on the bottom. I thought about jumping on the boat and swimming down and getting that thing, but I was
That'd
like,
be
that
cool.
water's like 39
Oh, no.
degrees. I ain't doing that.
No.
That's really cool.
But yeah, it's been a process. I mean, people, I want them to know that this is a family business. I mean, it's everything from my son-in-law does some CAD drawings for me if I ever need to do CAD drawings. I got my daughter doing our website. I got my wife sometimes helping with packaging. Every time I want to change one thing, I'm like, hey, when we take the marker and mark that, let's go to red instead of black because it blends in on the packaging. And she's like, you just do your way, then you always got to be your way. I'm like, it's just the better way. I'm not
Man,
saying
you got that cheap labor on lockdown.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Man, you're doing
yeah, make me a
great.
sandwich. No, and I'm making the sandwich. She's packaging it. I'm like, can I get you anything, honey? Because it's a pain, man. Yeah,
I
and then
feel
like,
that.
she's like, I'm gonna get or she made me get her an automatic stapler, and she was all mad at me because the automatic stapler, pa-chink, she's like, this is the greatest thing ever. It doesn't fold the staples all the way around. So then when I go to put them on like the racks or anything like that, I'm like, ow, god dang it. So I'm pulling all these, and then I'm like, we can't use this automatic stapler anymore. It doesn't fold them all the way over. And she's so mad at me. I'm making her use the old one. Boom. So
So-
it's
Chewy, how
fun.
much
It's
time
fun.
do we have?
None. We're done. All right, bye,
10
everybody.
minutes?
Oh,
Oh my god.
how are we going to talk about
Can we go to
fishing or
someone
anything?
else?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Well, wait a minute. So if this, okay, like right now, you got the magazine, you got the Muskie story. Has it ever been published anywhere? Like, hey,
Besides like the some internet forums and stuff like that. No.
yeah, see,
There we go.
There we go.
Making magic happen.
done,
It's made
done. Yep, and we need to come up with a really good muskie recipe. Do you have one of those? I heard.
Yeah.
Wait,
Tasty.
right now, like I'm looking
I'm
over my
looking at
shoulder,
the
like there's gonna be a
time,
punch coming in from somebody.
It could happen too. There's
Well,
some diehards.
You and I have known each other for quite a while, Corey, and you know that I like to smoke a lot of stuff. So I don't have a smoker big enough, but I often tease some of my fellow
You shouted
anglers
us
about
out.
hey,
Yeah,
maybe smoke something.
right. Yeah,
It always tastes good when it's smoked,
yeah.
That's true.
A shoe would taste good, smoked.
right? Exactly.
Yeah,
I know.
that's a fact. Nikki, do you have anything coming up you
I
want to
do.
talk about? Let's hear it.
I
Time out. Did you bring any of your desserts?
did not bring in.
No
Okay,
scones.
Still haven't had one. All right. Go.
Well,
I had my first scone 3 weeks ago in my life.
Okay.
Are
but it
they
wasn't
yours?
Mine.
I don't know.
Wait, who?
From
Well, if they
River-
were frozen or
No,
whatever,
they're from Riverview in Belle Plaine at the coffee shop.
but- no, but
They're pretty tasty.
those are pretty good.
Yeah,
and I
that's
know
my first one I've ever had.
they're pretty good. Okay, but you still have to have mine. I swear to God, I left some for you, but
I never got them.
oh, that's
Well, look at
John
who I'm
missed-
dealing with here.
Chewy looks kind of guilty there.
Chewy's had
He
about
looks
40
I
scones.
ate a
actually,
couple.
actually every time I,
I think Amy took their
Amy-
extras.
you put Tapatio in them for Chewy?
yeah,
That stuff is really good. Though. Yeah.
I know Amy takes mine. Anytime we tournament fish, she'll put them in a drawer in our lodge.
Did you ever do that raspberry cheesecake one?
I actually did, but
How was it?
now I know how I'm going to do it to make it like the best. I'm a perfectionist.
I want that so
before-
bad.
I
That
do,
sounds good.
and
She makes
I'm not going to give you the
scones.
key ingredient that I found to make it work
Mm,
and make
I
it
wonder
taste
what that is.
beautifully.
You're a sick bastard.
It's Billy Rub.
Sorry.
Billy Rub.
It's a nightcrawler flavor. Yeah,
Yeah, a little waxy.
you
But
put that stuff on everything.
Scotty,
like
how about
French
you?
red hot.
What's wait?
Uh,
You didn't finish your what you were
no,
doing.
no,
Let's,
I'm
let's
going-
keep going.
To my annual April Rainy River trip, my
Okay.
most
Sturgeon.
anticipated sturgeon and walleye.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's
So,
fun.
That's
it's
cool.
my favorite anticipated.
You go there for
early
walleye
one.
answers, and I go there after walleye's closed because I don't want to deal with shiny
So,
boats.
Last time we made
Shiny
it just on the
boats.
cusp. So I'll spend a week there, and usually the first half is just the rest of the walleye till that ends, and then the rest of sturgeon. But the crazy thing is like even with the plastics and what we were using for the walleyes, the sturgeon were just
Dude,
nailing
it's such a special fishery. That Rainy
It
River in
is.
the spring is pretty special.
It's amazing.
I've got to get up there and
Yeah.
experience that.
Giant
Just
walleye.
once.
If you can fish a
Sturgeons.
river, if you know how to kind of fish a river, you kind of guess what everyone else is doing. I walleye fish river. That's all I do for walleye nowadays. But if you can pitch a jig or drag a jig, you're using a lot heavier jig, especially if there's a lot of flow. Especially if the
Yeah.
Mhm.
if the river, if like the forks blow out while you're up there, it's tough.
That sucks.
It's dirty, it's fast, and it's
We've been there
ripping.
with that happening, and it was like we're done. you know, like with all the dead, you know, all that it is
So
not
much
only dirty, but
trees.
you lose so much
Crazy.
tackle, and it's just impossible. So, but before that happens, it's amazing.
Yep.
And then you got to wait a little bit.
Should be good this year.
Scotty,
Well,
let's go
they're
to
going already up
let's
there.
go to Scotty. Yeah, it's a short. I didn't ice fish once this winter.
Oh boy.
I bought a home. Maybe some of you know. I got a new puppy that's just turned 4 months. He's getting babysat right now. He's my son, and I love him. He's a sweetheart. His name's River. He's gonna be in my jet boat a lot this summer.
I haven't met
He's
him
eating
yet.
your shoes right now.
He's gonna be the star in my videos because I'm
Peeing
not.
on a
So
carpet.
I'll see you out there.
I don't have carpet in my
Baby-
house, thank
baby's
God.
sleeping.
Oh, good move.
But Scotty didn't get a very long ice season.
I didn't get out like I wanted this year. I had too much going.
You have a
on.
little baby too.
I do. I've
which
got a 2-year-old.
Takes some time. And
I
you
had a
love the
head
little.
gasket
She's
going out.
she's a peanut.
She is.
She's a cutie.
She's getting sassy.
Is she?
Oh yeah.
Terrible too.
Oh yeah. And then some.
Is she a redhead?
She's more blonde now, but she's still got the attitude.
Thank God
Oh.
you didn't get. She get that
You
from
got
you,
your little
Scott.
spicy ginger.
She's spicy.
I would have been
Yeah,
buying
like-
sunscreen stock. I'm very fair skinned and oh god.
But you did get out a little bit.
I did. I got out a few times, and it was mainly early ice before everything got crazy. But and then I started having a head gasket go out.
Yeah,
Otherwise, I'd
that's
have been
tough.
going up north or whatever. But I
That's
was like,
tough.
I'll just hit it hard next year.
Yep.
Between conditions and life, I was like, yeah, I'll get out when
Yeah.
I can. And
Life hit me hard.
you know.
Mortgages and stuff.
Yeah.
That shit's real.
Everything.
Yes.
Megan, you have an awesome magazine, but how about the fishing? What are you doing this? Do you have
Oh,
big
Got any
fishing
fun
plans this
trips?
summer? Going on any trips with the old man?
you know, I've heard about this Rainy River thing and invited up there, and it's not.
You
too
should
far.
do it.
I should.
Where do you reside?
Yeah.
Area?
Grand Rapids.
Oh, you're in Grand Rapids. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
That's not bad at all.
I love that area.
And even if you go up to I Falls, that's a
Yeah.
good area too for sturgeon.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can pick either end of the river. To be honest,
It's
Rainy
all
River-
good fishing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Boundary waters always.
If you wait later in the spring and go to I Falls and fit, this is kind of a secret I shouldn't even say, but the later you wait into sturgeon season and go to I Falls, it's amazing because those fish are moving up. So
Yeah.
or down, whatever it is.
Tell us about the
don't know.
shiny boats.
Sparkle, I make
yes.
fun of sparkly boats a lot. So I have friends that fish the walleye too, or I fish with them, and I make fun of them still. I don't care. It's funny. But I have a camouflage 20-foot jet boat. So it's like the catfish guys always say all the sparkly boats are filling up pool 4, and it's funny. It's
It
a
is.
joke.
It is.
They're awesome boats. You couldn't use them where I fish.
No,
If you guys know the Minnesota River when it's low,
I like-
Oh, it's
having some of
gonna
the
be
advantages
treacherous
that
this
you
it's gonna be
have.
crazy, and I'm so glad I have a jet. I used to have a deep V, a Lumacraft, a trophy deep V, and I blew the lower end on that thing. And 1 week of having that boat, I hit a log. I still see the mark in it when I go by when it's low water. And before that, I had another deep V, and finally bought a jet boat. It's definitely a game changer, especially for walleye. I probably
boat
got
is sick.
500
you got a
walleye
good
this
deal
fall.
on that. You traveled out of state to get.
I got it like 15,000 under what it should have been.
Wow.
Traveling 6 hours, so
And
I
it
would've
wasn't
done
even
it.
the boat you were going
it
for. right?
wasn't. And I was gonna go to Philadelphia. I had a road trip planned to stop in Ohio to stop at my friend's place on the Ohio River. I was gonna hang out with their what are those cows with long hairs called?
Hippies.
No, the long Highlands. She has pet Highlands, and they have these big Cane Corsos. I want to pet their dogs and their cows and cuddle with them a little bit. Anyways, the guy ended up selling it out from under me as I got approved for my loan. I made a trip plan for a whole week.
Oh.
I had my loan approved, and I was going the next day. He's like, "Oh, I sold it." I'm like, "What do you mean you sold it? I just made a whole
What
trip
a
and took
dick.
work off, which wasn't a big deal. I just took my PTO back." And my buddy's like, "Dude, look at this 20-footer. It's way bigger, 15 more gallon fuel tank." And I called the guy. I was like, "Will you go down to 20?" I got it for 25,000. It's freaking insane. And he's like, "No, I'm stuck at 25." I was like, "Okay, I'm coming tomorrow." So I went and got a loan and went there. It had 7 hours on it
Wow.
Easy.
with the
Wow.
Tarova, with the 93 SV Garmin.
Mhm.
What a
It
steal.
was loaded.
That'll be a good story in that magazine
Exactly.
I have a lot
Tons
of
of
weird.
stories.
I have a lot of crazy
There
stuff.
we go.
too. Yes, the whole edition is just
I
going to
think
be
all
you.
of us do.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
go.
why we united on this podcast.
Yeah, I've pretty much fished every main catfish fishery river in the entire country, including Canada.
Oh my gosh.
So I've filmed a lot of shows and done some TV stuff and done articles for In Fisherman. I'm not a
Art-
great writer, but I have a lot of fun
Okay.
experiences doing crazy stuff.
AI
But
just
you're the
does it for
writer.
you now, anyways.
Just write it.
Yeah.
I
Just
don't
write
know,
it there.
yippity yap, and
Yeah, like
AI.
I did like
sound amazing.
a co-article. I don't know what you'd call it, but I helped with an article for In Fisherman a couple of years ago for catfishing in the Midwest, and
That was last year, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I think
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. They all run together anymore.
Anyways,
Alright,
but
well,
I'm not a
there's two
great writer, but I got fun stories, I guess.
Oh,
We got 2 minutes
Yeah.
left. Should we bring up Mille Lacs?
No, let's not. Let's
How about Red Lake? Anyone want to talk about Red Lake?
but you're
brought that up earlier.
gonna do some walleye fishing this
That's it.
summer.
Yeah.
Heck
A lot of
Simmer
it.
down. Simmer down. Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, why not?
Just fish.
Yeah.
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 I'm excited
Just
too.
got to get out.
Crappies are snapping right now.
I'm
Like,
getting- I'm
really
getting-
legit.
Dude.
I decided I'm going to my backwater spot here real quick because it's early and I need to get
Can I
out
go?
there because you can come with.
I want to go.
It's insane. They're
I wanna
huge.
come.
I won't tell, and I won't take
Oh.
pictures of any backgrounds.
I went there my first day out there. I caught my PB of white and black crappies, both
Wow.
over 2
Yes.
Oh,
pounds.
that's awesome.
And
On Macula,
you
Jake,
can't
too.
get
That's
in there
even
without
better
a
yet.
jet. You can't get in there without a jet boat. So I was the only one back there.
Nice.
That one spot we got into last year was the same way.
It was the same.
We had
way.
people stopping on the road.
Yeah,
you
staring
get
at
in
us. Like,
there?
how'd you get in? It's called a jet boat. But we appreciate you guys stopping in.
Yep.
Megan, Travis, and Corey.
Yep.
It's
All
been
of
a
you
good
guys.
one.
Thanks for having us.
Nicole,
yeah.
Scotty, Chewy, thanks for cutting it out.
Oh, I'm
What?
4:30. I'm up on the bass tank
If you
here.
guys want to watch Macula tackle, throw some
Destroy
cast
fish.
and make a fool of himself,
Yes, I'll
go over to
for
the
a swim.
tank at 4:30. If you want to say hi to us at Old Carver, stop in here. We got 100+ catfish rods out right now. A lot of tackle. If you want to, you have a booth here, Megan.
Don't.
Megan doesn't have a booth, but if you see her around, you see her on screen now.
We're all over. Yeah. We're
You
all
just
over the show.
Stop by, guys. If you want to ask where
Yeah.
to get her magazine, you can ask us here. We'll tell you. But thank you guys for tuning in to Old Carver Fishing Podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yep.